Hey, what's going on everybody? Welcome back to another one of my videos, and today is going to be a unique video. I don't usually leave my office. Usually I'm just in front of my computer sharing bookkeeping and other tips and tricks on running a trucking business, but today I'm going out, I'm doing something different. I've heard so many people talk about reaching out to direct shippers. That's kind of like the golden standard. Everyone wants to build that relationship with a manufacturer, a supplier, a warehouse, a direct shipper. Cut out the broker. Nothing is wrong with brokers, but as you know, they take 20 to 30% of the revenue. So if us as a carrier, if we can reach out directly to a shipper, that's just more money either in our pockets or money saved by the shipper. So we have a lot of room to negotiate. We can offer the shipper lower prices, and the shipper can basically offer us as a carrier more pay. So everybody wins. The only hard part is that the broker, their only job is to connect them to us. So that's the whole point of a broker. So if you cut out the broker, we need to make that connection ourselves. And typically the shipper is not going to be knocking on our door as a small carrier saying, hey, can you help us move this freight? Because if you're watching this video, you're probably an owner operator, or you probably only have a couple trucks and you're a small carrier. So shippers don't really care about us. So with knowing that, we need to put in the work and we need to go out and reach out to these shippers. A few months ago, I tried to send emails and I got some traction, but I've heard a lot of people having success with actually going in person. So that's what I'm gonna do today. I'm gonna take you out on the journey with me, and I'm gonna tell you how my conversations go, if any of them go well, if they all go terribly. I have no idea what's going to happen, but we're gonna learn together. So if it works for me, I hope you guys are able to learn something from this and implement it into your business for yourself. Quick background on how I even got started with this idea or where I got the information. So I live in central Pennsylvania, and I very simply went to Google Maps and just looked up along the highways, like 81, 83 are two major highways that go through central Pennsylvania. And I just found warehouses and manufacturers along the highway in my town, no more than 30 minutes away. And I tried to find a sweet spot. I tried to find businesses that looked big enough that they might need help, but also businesses that were small enough that they didn't have some headquarters in Texas or some international supply chain deal already set up. We're not going to work with those massive companies. So you need to find that middle company who ships enough that they need to work with us, but not so much that they already probably have contracts with other brokers. So what I'm looking for is I'm looking for a dedicated direct shipper contract, someone who's shipping from Pennsylvania to Tennessee every single week. I'm not looking for someone who's shipping from Pennsylvania to Maryland once a month, because that really does me no good. I need just enough volume that it can keep one truck busy, but I don't want to find someone who needs so much help that they need 10 trucks, because right now I can't give someone 10 trucks. But I'm looking for someone who is shipping from Pennsylvania, 1,000 miles away once a week, every single week, and that would be amazing if I could get this direct shipper rate. Cut out the broker, hopefully cut out the factoring company, and just have a dedicated lane with the direct shipper. That's like what I've always wanted. I'm gonna throw it up on the screen here. This is my flyer. I don't have a business card. I've been in business for 2 years as a bookkeeper, and I've honestly never used a business card. So when I got into the trucking industry, I didn't get business cards, and I kind of regret it because it's a different industry than online professional services. It's a little more old-fashioned. So people have actually asked me for business cards. So I'm gonna throw it up on the screen here. I developed this flyer. I am by no means creative. I know it does not look spectacular, but it gets the information, it gets the point across, and it lets me leave something with the shipper. If I have a good conversation, I can at least leave them some information so they can contact me in the future if they want to work together with me. So it just has my name, my company, my MC number, my DOT number, a very brief description. Hey, I've got one truck, one box truck for expedited deliveries, and one power-only tractor for full truckload deliveries. I'm telling them we deliver nationally. So hopefully whenever I leave the shipper, I can leave them with at least a little bit of information so they can contact me tomorrow or next week.
Don't wanna sleep in, cause I got something to prove. I gotta take what I hate and finally make a move. I think of you and all the shit you don't do.
All right, so I feel like the first conversation honestly went pretty well. It is a local automobile parts supplier or manufacturer. I'm not sure which one they do, but it was a short conversation. I walked in and I talked to the receptionist and I asked if I could talk with someone from shipping or receiving, and she said, "Yeah, sure. Give me 1 second. Let me go find him." And then she went to his office, asked him if he wanted to talk to me. He said, "Sure." I went in, shook his hand, and just asked him if he ever needs help outsourcing his deliveries or his distribution. I asked him if he works with brokers. He said, yeah. I guess it's a fairly large company and they broker all of their freight out. But he said he'd be happy to take my information. So I gave him the little flyer that I made up and he seemed pretty interested. I said, "Do you ever need expedited LTL deliveries that I could do with my box truck?" And he's like, "Well, honestly, yeah, I could probably use that." So it wasn't a total disaster. He seemed relatively interested in what I was doing, what I was talking about. I was kind of expecting him to be really annoyed and to like want nothing to do with me, but he seemed interested. He took my information and he said he'll talk to his manager about it. And so who knows? I mean, that's the first stop. I've got 12 more. So I'll let you know how the rest of them go. All right. So did not have much luck with the second and the third place I went to. The second place is called World Pantry. I guess they have a distribution center here in central Pennsylvania, but their headquarters are in San Francisco. They basically told me like, "Hey, yeah, sorry, we run everything through our headquarters." So no luck with World Pantry. And the other place I went to is like a local electrical manufacturer, like electrical supplies manufacturer and supplier, and they said the same thing. They have like 10 locations in Pennsylvania, Maryland, and New York, and I guess they maybe have their own trucks, they have their own broker, I don't know. But third place I stopped at, no luck, and I'm not surprised. I would not be surprised if all 13 of these places did not work, but I'm going to try. I'm going to keep talking to these wholesalers, these suppliers, these manufacturers, and see if I can't find something. So on to the next one. All right, I just went to a place called Deacon Industrial Supplies, and no luck there either. They don't really ship a whole lot of stuff, and they said when they do, they contract it through their headquarters. Once again, it's probably going to be an issue I run into a lot. Whenever I did my checks last night, the night before, I tried to find companies who seemed small enough that they did not have headquarters, but the one cool thing about this is when you go to an industrial park like this and you try to talk to one company, there's usually like at least 3 or 4 other warehouses or manufacturers in the same area. So I just hit up 2 other places, like a sofa store, a furniture store. I really want to stay away from furniture deliveries just because that's like a lot of manual labor, but I wanted to ask them either way and they said no, they handle their own deliveries. And then I talked to another place, like plumbing and HVAC supply, and once again, they're owned by a big headquarters. So no luck there, but I'm going to keep trucking along and keep talking to these people. What I'm basically saying is I walk in, I ask if anyone from shipping or receiving is available, and I usually get someone, probably a manager, and I just ask them, I tell them, first of all, I own a local trucking company, and I ask them if they ever need help delivering or picking up their freight or their supplies, or if they broker out all of their contracts. And from there, they kind of know what's up. I'm sure people do this all the time, so they know what's coming, and the conversation usually goes one way or the other. So okay, I'm back in my office. It took me about 3 hours to drive around central Pennsylvania. I went to 13 different warehouses, distribution centers, manufacturers, suppliers, and there were a few key takeaways that I want to touch on real quick. First of all, 3/4 of the people said no thanks. We have our own brokerage that we work with. We don't work directly with carriers. We have a contract with someone else, which is cool. I expected that. But the other half of the people took my flyer, which is good. So I handed out about 6 flyers out of 13 trips, and 2 people seemed like actually genuinely interested in them, and the other 4 people were like, yeah, sure, whatever, we'll take your flyer, probably never going to call you. They didn't say that, but I could tell that's what they were thinking. So all in all, directly today was not a huge success, but I feel like I learned a lot. I feel like I got my name out there, and I want to touch on a few points that I think were really beneficial from today. First of all, I practiced my 30-second pitch, briefly describing what I do, what I own, the trucks that I have, the services that we can provide, how we can help your business. I was able to practice and refine my elevator pitch, so to speak. So next time, if someone asks me, hey, what do you do? Can you work with us? I'll know exactly what to say, and I'll be confident when I deliver it. Another thing is that the people that I talk to, they might not use my services directly, but I'm sure they know somebody else who they work with, maybe they supply to, or they work closely with other manufacturers, and they might be having shipping or distribution issues, and now they have my information, and maybe they'll refer me to one of their partners who they work with. The final thing that I want to say about this is sales. This is not a quick fix for anything. Sales, any salesperson knows that consistency is key. You're not going to land that huge the first time you go out, the first time you go knocking on doors, the first time you pick up the phone and make some calls, the first time you send emails. You're not going to land that big client the first time, but it takes consistency. I guarantee you, if I did this, what I did today, every single day for the next 10 or 20 days, I would be willing to bet I would find a dedicated route, a contract, a direct shipper to work with. And this is what I want to do with my company. This is the role that I want to have in the company. I think if you're watching this video, you probably want to have a similar role. If you're not driving your truck, this is kind of this is how we can grow our trucking business. So we hire drivers to drive our trucks, and then us as the owners, we're responsible for developing the business, finding other customers, managing those relationships, getting our face out there. I would love to do this every single day. And this is what I want to do. And hopefully after I get a couple more trucks, I'll be able to do this because we'll have enough income coming in from the trucks that I can mostly stop doing the bookkeeping and the accounting and just focus on the trucking business. But I love getting out there, talking to customers, building my business. I learned a lot today. It was really exciting. Hopefully I get to do it more often. But if you are watching this and you're wondering if you should go talk to local suppliers, local manufacturers, yes, I highly recommend it. At least try it, talk to a couple people. Who knows, you might find that golden direct shipper and land that $3 per mile for your box truck that everybody wants.
Until I